All right, so today I'm going to talk about a couple of things, and then we're going to do a couple of things. So you see that we're going to talk about too much life. We're going to do a lab with that. We're broken up into 4, 5, including me, groups, where you will be navigating throughout. Normally you would do this lab all in one group, but for the interest of time, because we only have 50 minutes of class time, we're doing it all one big group. So what you would do 5 steps, it's 5 groups, and then you can just move around to see the results from you so that everyone is still doing the lab. You do have a test next Friday, May 6th, so that's why you have your study guide packet. So that was a benchmark. This is high school. So if you look at your study guide, you'll notice that it is 4 pages, 1 front, back, 1 front, back. This is covering everything that we talked about for ecology. Is this a mandatory thing for you to complete? No. Is it an optional thing? Yeah. Would I encourage it? No. Absolutely. You will receive 10 bonus points on the test if you turn it in by 8:20 on Friday morning. Not during class. I will send out a remind one-on-one to remind you of that, but it will be bonus points toward your test for that. Now, you can use your notes to complete this, obviously, but if you look here, it's also a link down here to help you complete it as well. This exact information, in case you lose your study guide or you can't remember, as soon as you log on to the biology page, right on the front page, there it is again, reminding you of the test, giving you the study guide there, and also at the bottom of this page, there is also the link, which is on the first page, showing you, giving you information on completing it. What I would suggest when doing your study guide is, obviously, you see ecology, ecologist study, and there's a blank. Don't look at anything. See if you can complete it without looking at your notes. That's how you quiz yourself, and then use your notes or the PDF that I put on there to check your answers. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right. So let's now get to our assignment entitled Too Much Life. The study guide does have a page, but I didn't put it on the table of contents yet because we got a couple other things to go before it. So just keep it in your binder. It'll get a page number shortly. Alrighty, so now moving to today's assignment. Okay. So today is entitled Too Much Life. What we're going to do first is we're going to go through the pre-lab discussions. Hopefully we can get through this so we can go to the lab. If we don't, we obviously will have to do the lab on Monday, so but we should be able to get through this. All right, so let's take a look and let's discuss this really quickly. What could be the effects, positive or negative, for a terrestrial environment, on a terrestrial environment, if there was an increase in availability of nutrients? What's terrestrial? I'm glad that you asked, because if you didn't, then you would be the idiot for not asking and just assuming that you knew. Let's break that word down. Where have you heard the word terrestrial before? E.T. E.T., extraterrestrial. What is E.T.? An alien. Why is he considered an alien? Because he's not from this world. So extra means out of. Terrestrial means this world, this land. So terrestrial means not extra. Extra means out of. Land. So then the question, now that you know what that means, just also think of a terrarium. You have aquarium and you have a terrarium. What is that? Land. Box. So that's where you would put a lizard, but in an aquarium you would put a fish. Got it? Okay. So now that you have what that means, change this word to something else to make it better understandable. So I'm going to start the sentence. When I get to this word, you yell out the word that you think that it should be. What could be the effects, positive, negative, on a environment if there is increased availability of nutrients? What do you think could be the effects? I'm glad that you're reading and rethinking it through. What does that mean?
More producers.
More producers? What is that? Why do you say that?
You got more nutrients.
Okay. So he says more producers. Better soil. So if there's better soil, then what else? Okay, that's nutrients, but okay, better soil, which even better crops. What else? So let me say this. If there's better crops, more crops, what is there also going to be more of? There's going to be more, not just animals, not just people, what are we called?
Organisms.
More organisms. Organisms are the little things that are within the side of the cell to help the cell to function. More organisms. We're going to all migrate to that area. If there were more of those little wiggly worms that we had in our experiment that we did, or our assignment thing that we did, if more of those were in one area, we're going to start to migrate to that area because that's where the more food is, correct?
Correct.
Think about it this way. If you have Harris Teeter, Walmart, and Food Lion has more fruits, more vegetables, more food than Harris Teeter and Walmart, where is everybody going to go?
Food line.
To Food Lion, where the abundance of stuff is there. So we got more producers, better soil, better crops, more organisms, which means there's going to be an increase in population. Are those positive or negative?
Positive.
Are there any negatives to this? Huh? How is that a negative? You will have a decrease in nutrients. Okay, good.
Good word.
Increase in competition. What else? If there's going to be competition, what happens to some of you in our entire assignment thing that we did? It's going to then decrease organisms, which will then decrease population. Again, if we all are going to Food Lion to buy up the food that they have such an abundance of, what's going to happen?
They're going to run out.
They're going to run out. And we're all going to be there like, what? Stuck. Any questions of that? Okay, very good. Good. All right, so what could be the effects, positive or negative, on an aquatic environment if there is increased availability of nutrients? Well, then you got to break it down for me.
Okay.
More organisms like?
Producers.
What are producers, Darren? Explain that to me.
Like water.
Yeah. No, I just want you to like, think it really, really hard and see if I can read your mind. Yes, tell me one, silly.
Oh.
Plankton?
Seaweed.
Okay, 1 second. Plankton. What type of plankton, though? Because just plankton is not a producer. What is a producer? Food producer is something that makes its own food. You have zooplankton, which is like what? Animals. And we do not make our own food. Animals don't. And then you have phytoplankton. Very good. And phytoplankton is like plants, which are producers. Good. Is plankton on SpongeBob a phytoplankton or a zooplankton? But he looks like a phytoplankton because he's green. Remember, that's a microbiologist that did all those. All right, so more organisms, increase in plankton, or which is producers, which then is going to do what? So there's going to be an increase in food. Increase in population. What else?
Everybody's going to move to the area.
Okay, that's an increase in population.
There's going to be an increase in competition.
Increase in competition.
Decrease.
What else?
Could be a decrease.
Huh?
A decrease.
A decrease. But first, let's think about this. If you have nutrients, not only do you have these producers, phytoplankton, what other type of producers do you have in the water? Think about up here what you said. What's at the bottom of that water? But what's at the bottom? It's called a floor. What kind of floor? A sea floor. What grows out of there? Plants. Just like in land, we have plants. You're also going to, in the producer, you're also going to have plant life as well, correct?
How does plant life live without the sun?
Well, you have to have the sun there, but then again, if you have an increase of nutrients, you're going to have an increase of population, you're going to have an increase of competition. Is that going to crowd the area?
Yes.
Okay, so it's going to create a crowded area, which is then going to do what? It's too much in the water, it's going to limit the amount of what?
Water.
Not water, limit sunlight, which will then do what?
Kill off the
Kill off the producers that need sunlight, and they use sunlight throughout the process of what? Photosynthesis. So it's going to limit the sunlight, decrease the producers, because it's messing up photosynthesis. That make sense?
Mm-hmm.
What do the producers produce in addition to glucose? That is food.
Oxygen.
Oxygen. They produce oxygen. So if there's an increase in plankton or producers, that is eventually also going to increase oxygen. And if there's an increase in plankton, 1 second, it is also going to decrease what? What are they using? And what's the process of photosynthesis? They use sunlight. We breathe it out.
Oh, carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide, so there's going to be a decrease in carbon dioxide. But if there's a decrease in producers, then there's going to be a decrease in what?
Oxygen.
Oxygen. An increase in CO2. Yes, there is still dissolved oxygen in the water. There is. It's not. We can't breathe it in because we have lungs and not gills. Which then is going to do what? Cause what? Death. Causing, we can put death in organisms, or if we notice things are dying out in the area, what would your family possibly do? Move. Or migration. You think that's going to be the same thing up here? This is land, so there could also be a decrease in what? If more organisms are there on land, they're all doing what?
breathing in the oxygen.
Breathing in oxygen, so there's going to be a decrease in oxygen, an increase in what? We're all blowing out CO2, which then could also cause what? Death or migration. Does that make sense? If we can become overpopulated, maybe. All right, what's a dead zone? Take a moment, talk it over with your group, and talk about what a dead zone is. All right. Look up here for 1 second. This entire process, where we have all of this going on, more nutrients causing all of this, this is actually called eutrophication. Eutrophication. EUTROPFICATION. Eutrophication. It's a Greek word. All right. So what's a dead zone?
No life.
What does that mean, though? Why?
No organism is able to.
Good. It's an area where there is a decrease in oxygen because of what? Eutrophication. This is obviously going to impact surrounding ecosystems. Why? Why is it not just going to surround its current ecosystem? Why would a dead zone impact surrounding ecosystems? Where are these organisms going to migrate to? Other ecosystems, possibly causing the population eutrophication. Does that make sense? You see how this is becoming a cycle? All right. So now, with your group, this is a review question. Explain cellular respiration. Take a moment with your group because eutrophication. Take a moment with your group and talk over cellular respiration and describe an unbalanced ecosystem. About 2 more minutes. DNA, I'm here to talk to your group. One minute. All right. Highlighted group. Tell me about cellular respiration. Got some studying to do. Nope, cellular respiration. Come on, Joyce.
It's when we take in oxygen and glucose and produce carbon dioxide, water, and air. That's it. And energy. ATP, yeah.
Awesome. Oxygen plus glucose, which is the sugar, and then we give off carbon dioxide, water, and energy. When we say we, what type of organism in a food web does this? Producer? Huh? These are for consumers. A producer would do what process? Photosynthesis. Describe the balance in an undisturbed ecosystem. Let me have that over here.
We said stable in the.
Stable and independent what, though? How does it make it stable or independent?
No, see, say, you in the water, right? The ocean, right? You got the fish, you eat the plant, and you got consumers.
What's a fish? Is they what? Okay, what's the plant? Okay, so you have a balance between, or let's put a balance of, Tadarian,
Organisms.
which is, what are the two that we just talked about?
Oh, producers and consumers.
Balance of producers, which are what type of organisms? You just told me, what's that process? Photosynthetic. Photosynthetic organisms. So you have a balance of producers, photosynthetic organisms, and consumers, which are what type of organisms?
They're not the word.
Cellular respirators.
Respirators.
Or respirating, let's do that. Organisms. So a balance of producers and consumers, and then what? What else is happening with them? What else has to be there in order for them to do these types of things? ATP and energy. And energy has to do what throughout this food web? Energy flow. And then, of course, these things have to be healthy, so we also have to have nutrients between them. Does that make sense? Somebody look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, she's teaching, so I better be learning. So I better be learning. So I better be learning.
That's not correct grammar.
So I better be learning.
So I am learning.
So I am learning. Say it. Let me hear it. Say, I am learning.
I am learning.
You ain't get you some. If you ain't get you some.
I hate what Bridges
I know, that's why I'm doing it. All right, so we got that. So here, now we're going to be able to get started on the lab, and we should have time to get through it. Our problem is what? Someone read the problem aloud to me. Take a moment, write your hypothesis. I am not going to guide you through that. Take about 1 minute to write your hypothesis. For those of you watching the video lesson, you need to go to the next video. If you were absent from class, this is the data. We've already completed the lab, and we've collected your sheet and used this information to complete your conclusion questions.